1 teaspoon. Just 1 teaspoon makes all the difference in the world. I learned this lesson this weekend in a very, very tasty way. Let me tell you what happened. A few days ago, I love looking at different recipes for air-fried foods, and I came upon a really, really great video, and I have the link to it below, on how to make air-fried Char Siu sweet Chinese ribs. You've probably had them at a Chinese restaurant or a buffet place. I know I have, and I love them. So, of course, first thing I did is I went out and got all the ingredients. Now, the thing is about it, you won't find many of the ingredients in a normal supermarket. Luckily, I live just about 3 blocks away from perhaps the largest Korean food market in the southeast United States. So, of course, I made a beeline there, got all the ingredients. Well, I thought I got all the ingredients that I needed, no problem. Now, the reason why I said I thought I got all the ingredients is that among all the spices and everything, you know, there's like five spice Chinese blend, white pepper. Don't use black pepper, and all the other ingredients. You know, the Char Siu sauce, the hoisin sauce, whatever. Was one, and the recipe was 1 teaspoon of powdered chicken bouillon. Well, the deal is I have plenty of, I'm sure a lot of you have chicken bouillon in your kitchen cabinet. So, you know, in these familiar little cubes. So I thought, okay, I don't know why they say powdered, but, you know, this is chicken bouillon. So I just took a spoon and crushed it up as best as I could. Actually, what it ended up is like, it wasn't really powder. It was just, all I did was just take this clump of chicken bouillon, and it ended up as very small clumps of chicken bouillon. But I thought, hey, you know, chicken bouillon is chicken bouillon. What the hell's the difference? Big mistake. So anyway, I put together all my marinade. This was on Thursday night. And then I started thinking, am I right about that chicken bouillon? You know, because they did say powder. You know, why would they say that? So I looked it up on the internet, and they said, yes, there's a very distinct difference between regular chicken bouillon and chicken bouillon powder. So I thought, uh-oh. So while my ribs were marinating in the sauce with the this type of chicken bouillon in it, I went back to the Korean food market and got this, which is chicken bouillon powder. See that? Chicken bouillon powder. And I took a taste and I went, holy mackerel. Yeah, it does have sort of a chicken bouillon taste, but so much more that I thought, you know what? Can it really make that much of a difference? Well, as I found out, it was a day and night difference. Because the next day I followed the instructions and cooked it up. And by the way, I did make one other mistake. I got to mention this. When you look at the recipe, if you're interested, the guy, the chef, definitely says that the last thing you do when you marinate your ribs is add 1 teaspoon of cornstarch, and that sort of solidifies the sauce and everything. And I didn't do that. I don't know why. I just added the cornstarch to the rest of the spices before, and then added it into the on top of the ribs. Big mistake. Well, I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But anyway, the next day I made the air fried the ribs, and they were good. They were good. I'm not saying they were bad. They weren't quite up to the level of what I would have in a Chinese restaurant. I would rank it as like a C+. Not bad. Nothing to go crazy about, but now my wife liked it a lot. Although she complained about the texture. I don't blame her, because the sauce, because I added that cornstarch in along with the other spices, it didn't solidify the sauce like it should. So luckily, I bought I bought the ribs in a 2-pack. So I said to my wife, I said, you know what? I'm gonna whip up another batch of the marinade tonight, and put the ribs in it, and make sure that I use 1 teaspoon of chicken bouillon powder, and put the cornstarch in last. After everything else has been applied to the ribs and I've rubbed it around a lot thoroughly, at that point I'm going to add the cornstarch in, and that's the last thing. And then, of course, you want to rub in that cornstarch really, really good so it gets all over on the ribs, as you'll see in the video below. So I did that, and the next day I cooked them up like I'm supposed to. You add after you cooked up both sides of the ribs, as you'll see, you add in the glaze, which is fantastic, char siu glaze, and hoisin sauce. Anyway, along with honey and sugar. So anyway, next day after everything was done, I could tell right away it was a bit different because first of all, the sauce wasn't runny. It was nice and solid. But when I bit into it, it was, oh my God, it was so, I couldn't believe 1 teaspoon made, the teaspoon again, right. 1 teaspoon made all the difference. I couldn't believe it. It was through the roof. It was absolutely incredible. But the taste, and of course the texture was much better because I added the cornstarch in less. But if I rated the ribs from the night before as a C+, this was definitely, no doubt about it, an A+. It was so good. It was absolutely the best thing I ever air fried. In fact, I'm planning to do it again in 2 weeks. Next weekend, I've already planned to air fry Bonaire Beach Club wings. I got the recipe. That's another story. But anyway, so that's the moral of the story, is that you think it doesn't, like I said, like I mentioned with the pepper. You think, oh, you know what? I don't have white pepper on hand. I'll just substitute black pepper. Don't do it. Whatever it says to do in the recipe, whatever the chef says to do, add in the cornstarch last, and most definitely use chicken bouillon powder. Not this. Forget this. So that's what I did. Everything, it was very easy to do. Well, one thing was a little bit difficult, was cutting those ribs. You have to cut the ribs in half. You got to cut them in half, with a regular knife. It's kind of difficult. So, you know what? Gave me an excuse to pull out my Sling Blade Stella and use this to chop those ribs in half. Just stay!